Skeletons of the Marital Closet by Tang. Chapter 1871. Joshua was speechless. He could not believe his father. He was stern with him but coddling Nicole. Shawn clearly favored girls over boys. Joshua remembered the promise of the star and decided to let it slide. "Daddy, isn't Mommy having breakfast with us?" Nicole asked. "She's still sleeping, we shouldn't disturb her." "Is Mommy pregnant?" Shawn was taken aback. Why would you ask that? He had asked the kids before if they wanted a little sibling, but they were not planning for it for now. If he and Gale were really planning for a third child, they would need to prepare first. He needed to quit smoking and drinking so they can get healthy for the baby. It could not just happen so casually. Nicole earnestly replied, "Because only pregnant women sleep so much." "Where did you hear that?" Shawn asked curiously. "Our teacher said it, and it's also in the books. Every mommy is very tired during pregnancy, their belly gets big, it's inconvenient to walk, they get fat and ugly, can't lie down flat at night." "That's not it. Mommy sometimes sleeps until noon and sometimes doesn't come home at night." "It's not that she likes sleeping, it's that her routine is messed up," Joshua said. Nicole immediately asked Shawn, "Is that true? Daddy, why don't you make sure Mommy sleeps on time?" "I will." Shawn nodded. "I'll start tonight and make sure she has a proper sleeping schedule." "Yeah. Joshua, let's supervise Mommy together. We don't share a bed with her, so how do we know if she's asleep or not?" Joshua replied. "We can urge her to go back to her room earlier. Once she's back in her room, what else can she do except sleep?" Nicole said. "Make us a little brother or sister," Joshua quipped. Nicole had a look of sudden realization on her face. Shawn remained stoic and unfazed. "Daddy, you got this. As long as Mommy is willing to get pregnant, I'm happy to have another little sibling." Nicole said. "Okay, got it." Nicole held out her pinky. "Pinky promise." Shawn always played along with Nicole, no matter how childish her antics were. Joshua looked around, as if he was up to mischief. Gale did not appear even after breakfast was over. Joshua and Nicole were about to go to kindergarten, and the driver was already waiting with the car. "Bye, Daddy." "Bye, Shawn." The car drove off. Joshua looked back and saw Shawn standing alone at the door watching the car leave. "Nicole, have you noticed Shawn and Mommy have been acting a bit strange lately?" he asked. "Really? Besides Mommy's irregular sleep schedule, everything seems normal to me." Joshua snapped his fingers. "Shawn dotes on you so much, and you still do not notice anything." Nicole bumped his shoulder. "Then tell me what's wrong." "I can't pinpoint exactly what's wrong, but they just seem a bit awkward, not as loving as before." "Did they have a fight?" "That time we went to the master bedroom we saw Daddy sleeping on the floor," Nicole asked. Joshua slapped his thigh. Right. Chapter 1872. Normal couples would share a bed. Why would Shawn be on the floor? "You reminded me, it must be Shawn's fault. Why does he always make Mommy angry every now and then? Can't he behave properly?" Joshua said. In his eyes, Shawn was a disgrace to men. Nicole also racked her brains. "Joshua, but what can we do?" "Let me think." They racked their brains to come up with ideas to redeem Shawn. They subconsciously believed that Shawn was at fault and Gale bore no responsibility at all. After all, to them, Mommy was the best mommy in the world. They did not even bother considering Daddy's guilt or innocence. Mommy was always right, everything worth blaming would fall on their daddy's shoulders. If Mommy was happy, the whole family was happy, and if Mommy were not happy, the whole family would be unhappy. "I think Mommy doesn't lack anything. We are well behaved and obedient, with excellent grades, never causing trouble. Daddy also gives Mommy many gifts. What should we do to make Mommy happy?" Nicole said. Joshua thought of something, grinned triumphantly, and snapped his fingers. "I know what Mommy lacks." "What does he eat?" Nicole leaned in. Joshua whispered a few words in her ear, and proudly asked, "How about that? Is my idea good or what?" "It's great." "Then it's settled." Joshua said. "When we come back from school we'll start. You must cooperate with me." Nicole smiled. "Don't worry, Joshua. I also hope that Daddy and Mommy will be loving. Daddy shouldn't sleep on the floor anymore, it hurts my heart." If Shawn heard this, he would feel moved. A daughter would always be Daddy's girl. "Tesk." Joshua rolled his eyes. "He's tall and strong, what's wrong with him sleeping on the floor? He won't get hurt." "Joshua, if Daddy hears Tis, he's not here, how could he hear it?" Nicole smiled mischievously. "I can tell on you." Joshua suddenly panicked. Hey, Nicole. You can't do this, don't be a traitor, we're in this together." Nicole seemed innocent and sweet, but she could be cunning. She also had a lot of mischief up her sleeves. She was just so smart that she could deceive Shawn. However, Joshua saw through her. Nicole was an angel on the outside and a little demon on the inside. Scared, huh? Joshua, I didn't expect you to be quite afraid of Daddy. Nicole smirked. I'm not afraid of him, I'm not afraid. I understand, you're afraid that you won't get your star. Joshua sighed, muttering, how could I have known that Shawn had such great abilities? It seemed that Shawn could get him everything he wanted, even the stars in the sky. Who could resist such a pull? Nicole, don't you want a star? It's so cool. The universe is so big, but the world will recognize your star forever. You can observe it any time with a telescope, Joshua asked. Nicole said, when I look up I can see the whole sky. All the stars in the sky belong to me. There are so many stars I can just pick whichever I want to give my attention to. I don't want to have only one star. She believed that every star was unique and that it was enough to let them shine in the night sky. She had no desire to possess one. She felt having a sky full of stars was more romantic than having just one. Chapter 1873. She could claim whichever star she liked. She could even name whichever star she wanted at her own whim and fancy. She was carefree that way. In contrast, Joshua felt that he had to have a star with a name he chose. He wanted to possess it. Their perspectives highlighted the different mentalities of men and women. Men were naturally born with a desire to possess. Fine, do whatever you want. Anyway, if you don't want to, just don't come and cause trouble. Joshua shrugged. Nicole asked, how am I causing trouble? Cut it out, I don't know what you have got up your sleeve yet. I won't be fooled by your innocent appearance, Joshua replied. Although Joshua seemed the loudest and most mischievous, Nicole did not trail far behind. Nicole appeared meek and gentle because no one had offended her. However, if someone did, she would not hesitate to show them how formidable she could be. Nicole grinned. Joshua, I'm just curious about one thing. Go ahead, he replied coolly. When are you going to start calling him Daddy? You can't keep calling him Shawn forever. Joshua did not say anything. Nicole called him several times. Joshua? Joshua? Answer my question. I'll do it when I want to. I'll change eventually. What's the rush? I care about your relationship with Daddy, Nicole insisted. He's my dad, I'm his son. We have the same last name. Our relationship was destined from the start. It's not like changing how we call each other changes that, Joshua said. No, you seem moody about it. I can tell, Joshua quickly denied. Impossible. Being moody is something only girls do, not me. I'm a manly man. Not petty like that. You're not admitting it, right? Nicole nodded. Okay. I'll go home and tell Daddy that you said he deserves to sleep on the floor. I didn't say he deserves it. Stop spreading rumors. That's pretty much what you meant. Joshua became agitated. How is that so? It's totally different. Seeing him so worked up, Nicole chuckled. Okay, Joshua, I won't tease you anymore. Joshua breathed a sigh of relief. Little devil, only I can see through your true nature. That's what twins are for. Joshua looked out the car window. Actually, he had wanted to call Shawn Daddy for a while now, but he felt like Shawn did not care for it. Since Shawn did not care, he would not rush to address him either. He wanted to see who would give in first. If Shawn were to coax him and say he really wanted to hear him call him Daddy, then Joshua would be more than happy to go along with it and start. Shawn spent the whole morning in Temperley Hall, working remotely in his study. He did not go to the office. He wanted to stay home and spend more time with Gale. Chapter 1874. Gale's mental state was fragile, so Shawn wanted to be by her side to comfort her. Moreover, Shawn was also worried that Orem might cause more trouble. He absolutely would not allow Orem to meet Gale alone again, even if it was just to talk. A video call suddenly popped up. Shawn glanced at it and answered. Shawn, what's up with you lately? Joe's face occupied the entire computer screen. You're always elusive, harder to find than a dragon. I've been wanting to see you, it's harder than going to heaven. You try going to heaven. Oh snap, are you angry? So who dared to provoke the great Mr. Shawn Wood? He must be facing a terrible fate. Shawn remained expressionless. If you have something to say, say it. If not, then get lost. I do, of course I do. Don't hang up. You know about me in summer, right? Joe quickly reminded him. Not only do I know, I've witnessed it. Joe's face beamed with pride. How about that? Isn't it great? Back when you were pursuing Gale, you didn't make these grand gestures. Not to mention, you never pursued her at all. The more he thought about it, the more proud he felt. He even whistled a couple of times. Turns out he was here to boast. Congratulations! You're so proud after just completing the first step. Take it easy, beware, too much joy brings sorrow, Shawn said. Joe exploded. Can't you speak nicely? Are you cursing us? Just a reminder, after all, I'm experienced. I've seen all your experiences. Thanks to you paving the way, I can better understand how to pursue summer. You've hit so many walls, suffered so much, so that I can avoid all that perfectly. Shawn still had no expression. Are you done? Tetsk, you don't even have time to chat? What are you busy with? Don't you think it's nice for me to chat with you, since you sound like you're alone? Joe asked. Not needed. Titsk, you're so cold. Joe's face was full of joy, feeling refreshed with good news. He just wanted to come and flaunt the end of his singlehood in front of Shawn. However, Shawn appeared uninterested. He even hung up and went on with his work. At this moment, Shawn heard the faint sound of a door opening, and then he heard footsteps. Shawn got up immediately. Gale walked out of the master bedroom. She was just about to close the door behind her when she turned and ran into his arms. Shawn. She paused. Why are you at home? Shawn did not say anything and just looked at her. Aren't you going to the office? And you turned off my alarm clock. What time is it? I overslept. Shawn said, Gale, aren't you going to hug me? She hesitated for a moment, then slowly raised her hands and wrapped them around his waist. Then she leaned against his chest, listening to his strong heartbeat. Gale understood. He was correcting her behavior little by little, telling her not to be timid, to be bolder. He always loved her, accepted her, and respected her. She just could not do it for now. Chapter 1875. Nevertheless, she tried. She tried to forget about that night, trying to believe that she was still innocent and pure. That's right. Are you hungry? Shawn patted her head. Let's eat. It's already noon, Gale whispered. Let's have brunch together. He led her downstairs, gently and considerately, showing no impatience whatsoever. While she was eating porridge, he just watched her, making Gale feel embarrassed. Why are you staring at me while I eat? You eat, I'll watch. Gale looked around. It's fortunate that there's only the two of us in the dining room. If Joshua and Nicole were here, we'd be teased by them again. Suddenly, she remembered something. I didn't get up this morning, they must have asked about it. It's embarrassing. I used to be a diligent mommy, but now. Gale sighed. You've ruined it all. Every time she did not get up on time, it was Shawn's fault. Either he had exhausted her, or he had turned off her alarm clock. You can make up for it. Shawn glanced at his watch. It's time now, we'll go pick them up from school later. Okay. Gale had been feeling somewhat dazed and absent-minded these days, not knowing what she was doing all day. However, she still tried to maintain normalcy in front of the children. She did not want them to find out. Unfortunately, they still could not be fooled. Joshua had already sensed that something was wrong in the morning. He had made plans with Nicole for the evening. As the evening slowly descended, all the streetlights in Temperley Hall lit up, creating a warm and homely atmosphere. After dinner, the servants were tidying up the dining room. Where are Joshua and Nicole? Gale came downstairs, looking around. I just went upstairs to put on a coat, and they're gone? The housekeeper was also puzzled. I saw them here just now. Where did they go? Let me look for them. Saying this, Gale walked out of the villa. The late autumn night was a bit chilly, and Gale wrapped her coat tightly around her. In the distance, laughter could be heard. She followed the direction of the sound and saw Joshua and Nicole standing in front of Shawn on the lawn, each holding one of Shawn's hands and saying something. Shawn was bent over and listening very attentively. Mommy's here! Nicole was the first to notice her. Hurry up! Are you ready? Gale walked up to Shawn and looked at the two children, then at Shawn. What are you discussing? It's so mysterious. He smiled. You'll find out soon. As soon as he finished speaking, the streetlights went out simultaneously. Gale suddenly felt the darkness in front of her. Huh? What's going on? Before she could ask, colorful lights began to flash on the lawn. Gale finally saw that the lawn was surrounded by twinkling lights. She had not noticed it at all before, she had been too focused on the children. What are you? What are you going to DDO? Gale was stunned. Did Shawn prepare a surprise for her? Chapter 1876. Seeing her puzzled expression, Shawn replied lightly, I just found out too. Not you. Then who could it be? Gale looked toward Joshua and Nicole. Joshua had just gone to turn on the lights. Now he came back and coughed loudly. Mommy, just stand there and don't move. Nicole, where's your stuff? Nicole also came running, holding something in her arms, but all Gale could see was a white mass. Here it is, Mommy, you're too tall, lower your head a bit. Nicole panted. Gale did not know what the two kids were up to, but she complied, squatting down and lowering her head. Nicole took out what she was holding, and with a gentle breeze, it floated lightly. Gale finally saw what it was. It was a white veil with a small crown on top, fastened with a pink clip. "Mommy, I'll put it on for you. Don't move, okay? I made this myself," Nicole said. "You made this veil?" "Yeah, I learned from my handicraft class. Isn't it beautiful? I think it's even prettier than the ones in the store." Nicole earnestly fixed the veil onto Gale's hair, carefully adjusting it. She clapped her hands. So beautiful. The veil was large and long, almost touching the ground, enveloping Gale's entire figure. She looked ethereal. Gale was surprised and touched. "Nicole, why did you suddenly make a veil for me? I've never seen Mommy wear a wedding dress. I don't know how to make one, but I can make a veil for you." "Wait, there's one more thing." "Joshua, take it out quickly," Nicole replied. Joshua took out a box from his pocket. He handed it to Shawn. "Here, take it. This is also made by me. Go put it on Mom. Remember to be sincere and romantic." "Oh, and you have to kneel down." Shawn took it. He did not open it, but he guessed what was inside. It had to be a ring. Nicole had already surprised him, but he never expected Joshua to make a ring too. When did these two little rascals come up with these ideas? Gale stood quietly in place. The veil had a magical charm. After putting it on, she felt like she was in a dreamy fairy tale, where her prince was standing in front of her. Shawn walked up to her, the box lying in the palm of his hand, looking incredibly delicate. "Daddy, propose!" Nicole cupped her hands around her mouth like a trumpet. "You owe Mommy a proposal. Today Joshua and I helped you prepare everything, you just need to do it." In Joshua and Nicole's understanding, Mommy lacked nothing, except for a grand wedding, a romantic proposal. A wedding could only be handled by Dad. However, they could definitely handle a proposal. So, in the morning when they went to kindergarten, Joshua and Nicole discussed their idea and put their plans in motion. Now it was up to Shawn to take it from here. Chapter 1877. Shawn gulped. He could not believe it. He was feeling a bit nervous, his hands were trembling. Despite his repeated deep breaths to calm himself down, he could not suppress the nervousness in his heart. "Gale, Shawn said, then swallowed hard, his voice choked with emotion. Never did he expect that one day he would need the help of two children to propose. "I know you're already my wife, and we'll be together for life, always by each other's side." Shawn squeezed the ring box, looking into her eyes. "But looking back on these years we've been through, I've never said my vows to you. If we have a wedding, then during the ceremony we'll swear together, through poverty or wealth, through health or sickness, that we'll never leave each other, we'll love each other forever." Joshua made the ring, Nicole made the veil. They may not be luxurious, but they are things that money can't buy. Listening to him, Gale's eyes became moist. She blinked, but more tears fell. Shawn lowered his head and slowly opened the box in his hand. Gale's gaze followed the box. When she saw the ring inside, both she and Shawn laughed out loud. It was made of straw. However, it was as delicate and exquisite as it can be. There was even a pink wildflower embedded on top. Nicole made the veil by hand, and Joshua made the ring by hand. Shawn and Gale were completely surprised. "This is the most beautiful and special ring I have ever received or seen. It's one of a kind in the world, and only I can have it," Gale said. She was very touched. Gale was at her lowest point in her life. Even so, many beautiful and happy things kept happening. Joe and Summer were finally together. Shawn gave her a star. The two children planned a proposal for her and Shawn, and even prepared the venue and props. So many small joys surrounded her, reminding her how happy and lucky she was. Gale was still trapped in that night's trauma, unable to break free, unable to fully be present. Joshua was very proud, saying, "I weaved it myself. I tried for a long time before I got this." "Daddy, hurry up and put it on Mommy." "Wait, you have to kneel down first." Shawn nodded. "Okay." He carefully took out the ring from the box, very carefully, afraid of ruining it. Then, Shawn bent one knee and knelt in front of Gale. He held up the ring high. Joshua and Nicole stood by, excitedly hopping around, but dared not make a sound, afraid of disturbing Mommy and Daddy. They could only whisper, "I suddenly feel like we're so lucky to witness this moment. This is what we planned together, of course, we have to witness it. When other daddies propose to mommies, their children haven't even been formed." Oh, Shawn is making up for what he hadn't done before. Lights twinkled, the wind blew gently, and the faint scent of petunias wafted in the air. They bloomed late this year, but they still filled the air with fragrance. Gale looked at Shawn. She knelt down, about to cry. Chapter 1878. Even though they were already married and had children, at this moment, Her heart could not help but be filled with myriad emotions. She was so lucky to have a lover. Gale, you've always said that you've never experienced a complete dating cycle and never enjoyed a formal pursuit. Not to mention a proposal and a wedding. I understand what you're thinking and I know you're right. I want to make up for each one, but you haven't given me the chance. Shawn looked deeply into her eyes. I always hoped that you would ask me for more, demand more from me, point out where I fell short, where I needed to improve, but you never did. You were always easily satisfied. I don't think I'm a lucky person, but I believe the luckiest thing that ever happened to me was meeting you. Gale, I love you, I really do. I, Shawn, in this lifetime will marry no one but you. You are irreplaceable to me. You will always be the Gale I fell in love with. As he spoke, Shawn's voice choked up, and tears welled in his eyes. There's something I've never said to you, and you've never answered me, but we've both shown it through our actions. Now Gale, I still want to say this to you, to ask you formally. Will you marry me? He lowered his head and planted a kiss on the ring. His warm lips brushed against her skin. They aroused a burning in her. The ring fit perfectly. Why does it fit so perfectly? Shawn was somewhat surprised. Joshua, did you measure her finger? Joshua nodded. Of course, the ring has to be just right, not too big or too small. Smart. Joshua was truly his son. Even Gale herself was surprised. She had not expected this seemingly ordinary straw ring to fit her finger so well. When did you measure it, Joshua? She asked. Some things are better kept secret. Joshua tilted his head back. All right, it doesn't matter. Now, kiss. Right. Kiss, Nicole echoed. Then, the two of them pulled out petals from somewhere and scattered them into the air. The sweet smell wafted through the air. Gale felt a bit shy. How could she kiss in front of the children? Chapter 1879. Shawn had already wrapped his arms around her waist and lowered his head to find her lips. The kids are watching, she reminded him softly. They'll close their eyes, he replied. With that, Shawn's lips met hers, drowning out her words. Nearby, Joshua covered Nicole's eyes. No peeking, he warned. Nicole also covered Joshua's eyes from behind. No peeking for you either. The siblings covered each other's eyes tightly. They were silent. At first, Joshua and Nicole stood still, not moving a muscle. As time passed, both of them became restless. Why had it not ended yet? How much longer will it take? Did Mommy and Daddy remember them? Since they were the ones who planned it, they could not rush them. Joshua and Nicole could not stand still anymore, and their hands could not cover their eyes anymore. Joshua leaned over and whispered in Nicole's ear, I'll count to 3, and we'll both put our hands down together, okay? Okay. The siblings made a pact. All right, 3, 2. Before he could say 1, Joshua suddenly felt him being lifted up. Then, Nicole next to him exclaimed, Oh! Shawn had picked up Joshua and Gale had picked up Nicole. Nicole happily hooked her arms around Gale's neck. Mommy, are you happy? Yes, very happy. Nicole played with the veil. You look really pretty with it on, even prettier than I imagined. Because you made it. Nicole planted a kiss on her cheek. On the side, Shawn and Joshua, father and son, stared at each other. Joshua definitely could not do something like that. Shawn definitely could not accept it either. What could they do? They had to find a way to express their love. Thank you for the ring. This act earns you a point, Shawn said. You're welcome. It's only natural since you're my daddy. Are you willing to call me T? Joshua replied. I'm not calling you. I'm stating a fact. You're already my daddy, and we have a relationship that can't be changed. In consideration of your good behavior, I'll fulfill one of your wishes. Go ahead and ask. As long as it was Joshua asking, Shawn could do it. Despite Joshua's stubbornness and refusal to admit defeat, Shawn still cared about him. Chapter 1880. Joshua was just like Shawn. Wow, Joshua, what a rare opportunity. Whatever you want, just say it, and it's yours, Nicole exclaimed. Gale also looked at Joshua. She was curious, what would he ask for? After all, he already had his star. Joshua's eyes twinkled mischievously. Daddy, will you grant any wish I make? Seeing his sly smile, Shawn felt something was off. Yeah, I can grant whatever you want, but don't think about anything unreasonable, he replied. How unreasonable can I be? You're my daddy, and I'm counting on inheriting your business. I can't afford to offend you. Shawn sighed. With Joshua's ambition, Wood Group would be in good hands. Joshua patted his shoulder. I want to sit on your shoulders to feel what it's like to be lifted high. Shawn and Gale were both taken aback. After all this time, was that truly his wish? Are you sure? Is that really your wish? Shawn asked, raising an eyebrow. He had generously offered Joshua a wish, expecting something more difficult, something that would require effort or resources to fulfill. Yet, it was unexpectedly simple. Yes, I'm sure. What's with that expression? What's wrong? You don't want to. I just want to ride on your shoulders, it's not like I want to step on your head. You're not willing to do it? Joshua said. He rambled on. You said you'd grant me a wish, and I made one. And now, do you want to take it back? I just want to know what it feels like to be taller than you. Is that not okay? Do I have to ask for the moon before you think my request is reasonable? Why can your shoulders support Mommy and Nicole but not me? They get it for free, but I had to use up a wish for it. That's not fair to me. And now, here you are hesitating and dragging your feet. Fine, I take back my wish, and you don't have to fulfill it. Let's just pretend none of this ever happened. Your word means nothing. Shawn looked at him for a while before asking, Are you done? Pretty much. Can you let me down now? Joshua replied. He tried to wriggle out of Shawn's embrace, but he was no match for Shawn's strength. To Shawn, he was like a little duckling, easily picked up at any time. I just think that you wasted your wish. This is a small matter. You could have just asked and I would have done it, Shawn said. But I want to use the wish you gave me.